G'day folks, Piros here, and today we're here to talk about the trench boards on the FOILDRIVEs with Master Shaper, Master Designer Dale Chapman. And this is a big subject at the moment. It's all over the web, the interweb, everyone's talking about it. Now what a lot of people don't realise was Dale, you actually did one of these for FOILDRIVE a bit over a year ago.
Yep, yeah, we did. But it was a box and it didn't go all the way through the tail.
Okay, so that's why I'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. It's why we call this a trench and not a box or a rebate or anything else like that. So, and a lot of people just say, it just doesn't work, even though we've done videos and it does work. So Dale, he's the expert R&D guy, we've got two exact 5.2s here, both 5.2 by 18.5. This one's about 45 litres, this one's probably about 7 litres less, simply because of the trench. The two boards are identical, and we've been riding both boards probably all weekend, but the weather has just turned to shit. That's why we're in a factory now, because it's just pouring rain outside. But, you know, Dale, like, we saw the trench, you did that one over a year ago, and it just disappeared, and then...
It was just too hard getting the FOILDRIVE in and out and changing batteries.
It was hard, and it sort of just lost interest. But then we went to Hood River in September.
Yeah, and Apple Tree had one.
Apple Tree had one, and we're at Hood, and like, as you know, the first day we got there's blowing 50 mile an hour, next day it was blowing 45 miles an hour, and the next day it's blowing 5 miles an hour. We had nothing. So yeah. What we and then it just turned into a FOILDRIVE expo, didn't it?
Exactly.
And that's where a lot of key figures from all over the world came in, and they started looking at, being a lot of interest. And especially in your boards, Dale, and this is something else too I want to talk about, you just can't slap a trench into any normal board.
No. Like
this is just like your shape on these boards has just been magnificent, and I really love the shape of your tail, because this makes it a really efficient FOILDRIVE board for starting, for planing, for surfing. So just tell us a bit what you've done here on the tail to incorporate the same design features but actually get this trench going in.
Yeah, well, like the trench takes out 8 litres out of the board, so we had to add a bit of volume to the whole board,
yep,
all the way through, and we had to get this rebate and bring it back a little bit so that Gen 2 would fit 100% inside this rebated area.
Yep.
So like it's 50 mil all the way through, so we had to stretch that back and drop it down and then blend all that in. And I'm really happy with the shape.
Yeah, look, you know, I've got to say, you know, it looks good, is good.
Looks sexy.
It is, mate. You've done, like, you know, you're obviously a great shaper, and you just blend it in beautifully, and it just works so well. So just coming back again about the recess box and a trench board, look, I'm not going to get into the exact science of all this, of why it's working, because there's too many people out there who just want to pick this to pieces. But basically, you want your board to go fast that way. The water has to be able to go the opposite way without any interruption. So we found when we had a back on the trench and we made it like a recess, you had a back wall there and the water was hitting it, and that's where it wasn't working.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's probably why after a year ago it sort of fell in a hole, because there wasn't the advantage you got from not having the disturbance from the water up here. You soon lost because the water was actually hitting a damn wall.
Yeah, and like riding this trench, it's like riding a prone board. It really is. Like you can't feel anything. It's you can pump it heaps longer. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is too. And then the other thing for me, because you know, everyone knows I'm a battery pig. You know, I own 10 batteries, and I'm not like a 2 or 3 battery guy. Sometimes I'm 4, sometimes I'm 5. Changing the batteries was just a monumental, massive thing for me. And this undoing the 4 bolts and pulling it out and putting it back in, I just said, nah, look, I don't care what advantage I get over that, I'm not going to do it. But Dale suggested on the last one we made for FOILDRIVE that we just open it up just a little bit more. You don't need that far to open these latches, do you?
Yeah, you don't.
It's something like 12 mil, just like ½ an inch, so it's not like you haven't got a super big gap. And on the other trench board we did, there was like a 6 mil gap, ¼ inch, and that still lets water through, but it's choking a little bit. So Dale's theory here was, look, 2 things. One, we open it up a little bit, lets you open the latch, lets the water flow go out. So that's one thing. The second one was we've extended, or Dale's extended this another 125 mil, another 5 inches. That's so you can change the battery.
For sure.
Now again, people are freaking out, just going, it's creating disturbance, it's going to slow the board down, but it's the complete reverse, isn't it?
Yeah, look, we went out in it a few days ago and had an absolute ball on it. And I didn't find anything. I could touch down, it just popped back up and kept on going. No resistance at all.
Yeah, and the same for me too. Like, as you know, I've been out of the water for a long time, and like my pop-up wasn't great. We put a 850 code chop tail on this, and it was, yeah, for me, especially me for slow, I just went bang straight up.
Yeah.
And probably the most outstanding feature for me of this is the upwind.
Yeah.
Chop. Now I've got some great vision here, so we'll just cut to that.
You can do it now. Not like the river.
Yeah. Cut to this and we'll have a look at it. So there's some, I'll show you, you've seen a shot of me, I'll show you a shot of Mark riding the same board, going upwind. It's incredibly efficient upwind. So Dale, again, it doesn't make sense, does it? You think all those, especially the area here from the nose cone, you think that'd be causing some sort of suction, pulling the water in, but it just seems to just run straight over the top.
Yeah, yeah. I'm really surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, and you know, and when I was, you know, when we first saw this at Hood River with Paul, I said, this is a joke, you know, I said, this is like, this isn't going to work. And then, you know, I sat down with Paul, we'd finished, packed up the tents, we had a few beers.
A lot of beers.
And Paul goes, tell me what you really think. I said, mate, I reckon these things are a gimmick, I reckon they're going to be drag. I said, I will not support it, you know. Ever. Here we are. 2 months later, so, you know, I've got a great saying, like, what happened when you tried it, you know?
Yeah.
So a lot of people out there, it won't work. I said, you tried one? They go, no, I've tried a few now. Yeah. And it works.
Yeah, for
it
sure.
just works. So I'm not going to go into the whole science of it, just try and, you know, all I can do, I got another great saying, is if you've got a theory or you reckon it does this or it does that, show me. So I'm just going to show you how it works. I'm not going to tell you how it works. And some great vision of you. We'll just cut the Dale on it here. And he's just, look at him, that's his first step on this board. Not a great day. Like I say, we only had a very small testing window. Went really well. So when I first also talked to you about extending this, the actual trench, I wanted it to go and I wanted it to sort of come in, but you said no. You've blended, because the clipping is around about here somewhere, and so
it's got a soft curve coming all the way through.
Soft curve coming in. And it's actually got the nose cone that actually fits beautifully in here too. So it just goes forward, just goes back. Now for me, if you can see my marks here, that's the mark for my foil. That's where it normally goes. I can come forward about another 30 mil and still be able to change the battery. But I will never, that's my most forward mark ever. So I'm right.
No one's going further forward than that.
So this is my setup here. And you can see it's no limits with an axis head. So I ride lift, I write code, and I write access all in the same thing. So that's covering those three designs. I've got integrated mast, so I haven't got I can't test the Armstrongs, but I'll be doing a separate one with that and do it. But we can simply just nudge the tracks forward just a little bit more, and if this has to come forward another 10, 15 mil, so be it. So Dale, the future, where do you reckon it's going to go? Like, is this who's a trench board for?
Yeah, like it's the upper limits, isn't it? It's not for every person.
Yeah.
But you know, like if you want that top 5% or 10%, you know, you're going to spend the money and get one. But not everyone needs to get one of these.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like even at my level of semi-pro coupe, you know, like I'm probably the interest for it. But it depends. If you just go out there and you're just cruising around, you like to get on the waves, you like to go long, and I sort of call it poo shooting. Nothing wrong with that. You're just drifting along. You're not really going to get the advantage of it. The main driver for me is this board's easier to get up on, and it's easier to get up on small foils. So I'm down on a chopped 850. That's with 1.5 legs. So in another few more weeks, I'll be back to myself. I'm hoping to get up on a code 615S on this, and if I can do that, that means that's the same foil I use on this little baby tub. So if I can get up flat water start on a 615,
Yeah.
mate, that's going to be a whole new foil drive world. So what do you reckon about that?
Yeah, no, it's unreal, and I think it's come a long way in 1 year.
Yeah, yeah.
And like all the design changes and that, like that's what makes me tick, R&D.
Yeah, well, it's great. It's the thing about Dale too is like, this board, originally I was going to do a top mount, which some people have talked about. I call it my dunny lid. And I was going to put the Gen 2 on the lid and sort of lift it up. But by doing that, you don't actually bring the foil 2 inches closer to your foot. So that also helps too, because you're actually getting the foil drive closer to you.
Yeah, definitely.
And the other question I get asked a lot is, that's my 15 centimetre motor. That's 15 centimetres here. As soon as you drop it into the trench, motor is now 2 inches closer to the board. And is that too close? Well, no, it's not. Because
doesn't seem to be for us.
There's a couple of things going on here, and I think the main reason is because it's getting cleaner water, and you can bring it closer to it. But did you ride Josh Coo's board in Hood River? I don't think you did.
No,
I did. No. Josh, being one of the original team riders, he actually had his motor at like 11 or 12 centimetres. So it was on one of these, and it was down here. And the first thing I noticed was when I got up and I was going into the chop, you could feel you could just feel it just letting go every now and then, because it was getting, what's happening, the water flow was coming up here and it was getting dirty water to the prop. So on a normal setup, I don't recommend you go below 15 centimetres, but by going on this setup here, it's cleaner water flow and it doesn't hurt at all. And again, I'll show the footage of Mark and of me again. Just have a look at this. He's not slipping. I'm filming him on the normal setup board, and I'm struggling to keep up because he's going so hard upwind. So it works incredibly well. So that's something else that people don't realise. They think, well, I've already got a 50 mil board, so I'm at 50 mil. But it's not just. There's a lot going on. You've got the disturbance.
There's only like 10, 15 mil between the bottom of the boxes and the deck.
Yeah, so you can't go much narrower than that. So and I really don't think you need to do it either. And then again too, like people going 5.2s, people are going now to mental short boards. This is my actual setup here. So as far as the 5.2 goes, I have less than 3 feet in front of me. So just please, some people just get so punch drunk on short, low leader boards for a foil drive, and they're struggling to get up, and they put a bigger foil on. Just defeats the purpose, doesn't it?
Exactly. And I really like a bit of length out the front. Sort of makes you feel like you're more surfing. Yeah, and when you touch down, you've got something to rebound off. So look, that's fantastic. So again, Dale, so like people are ringing up and ordering, and we're still playing around with this. So at the moment, just for us, we're talking about like the DC crew. We've settled on, I've called this the Mariana Trench. Mariana Trench, by the way, is the deepest trench in the ocean in the world. People
think there's a typo and it's a marinara trench. So maybe it wasn't.
Not eating it.
We'll just change it to something else. But we're going for the slightly wider, slightly longer. But look, if you want a narrower and shorter one, bang, just ring up.
Well, that's what we can do. We can make anything. So, like, if you want it short or narrow, we can do that, or do the other. It just costs more.
Yeah, it's just, it's like it's time. Look, these things aren't cheap. They are 3 times the labour to build to a normal board.
Yeah.
Right, so don't expect to be the same price. So Dale's really hasn't set the price yet, but you know, like he can do them. They're coming out. The R&D wheel is just going to keep going. So as far as the trench to like the recess goes, it's now like it's DC, it's Amos, Armiston, Unifoil. They've all and Apple Tree have all gone to the trench going straight through. So the recessed one, that was the original design, seems to be out the window, and it's the trench. The trench principle seems to be going across all the brands now. So I doubt anyone's going to get any factory moulds or anything kind of like that. The R&D is going to keep going.
Not anytime soon, but we will.
Yeah. So Dale's got, like I say, he's got the jump on it. He's been going on it for a year. So I don't. Is there anything after riding this? I mean, we'll do some more footage testing on this, and I'll also get Mark in here, who's holding the other camera at the moment, to come and have a bit of a chat. So actually I'll get Mark to come in now. We'll just do a live camera swap. Here he is. So Mark, just tell us your first impressions on this.
Yeah, well, first impressions for me, I was riding different foil, so I had to factor that in, and a different board. So ignoring those two, because it was a lot bigger foil than I normally ride, things that really stood out was just the touchdown. Like, I always thought that little braking feeling that you're hearing was the prop. I just didn't realise it was the battery box. So you might see in the video, I was actually deliberately trying to ride as low as I could, almost just constantly touching the water. And it was just like I didn't have, I was like I was on my prone, I was like I was downwinding, it was just bouncing off beautifully. So really amazed. What other comparables? I mean, that was the main thing. Oh, and the centre of gravity, just having that, because I'm pretty light and skinny, having that battery close to your feet, after a while, it felt way more natural.
More like a surfing feeling.
Yeah, much like a surfing feeling. Going through your turns, you definitely sense it. So I was surprised. I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting I thought you'd notice it, but it just feels like it's not there. It's like the rock is pushing the water away from it. It's releasing instantly. Normally I ride this, which is just basically a standard chrome 4.8, 410, I don't even know. And so this shape, the shape itself pops up so much easier. Like the planing speed, so much quicker to plane. I was riding a larger foil than normal, but absolutely no. It started faster, simple as that. So I think, like you, Rob, I got a lot of confidence I can go down to a smaller foil, which is what we've been trying to do. And I think that'll be the next test. So yeah, it is one of those things you get off, and no, you don't want to go back to anything else, which is a good test, sure. Right? I keep going back to this, and I'm feeling that centre of gravity difference.
And this board's 38 litres, and like I can get up on it without even paddling.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
I found the same too. Even my bung leg, I was just getting up in a small board, I just got up on it. So. And the other deal I have with Dale is, like, you know, obviously, you know, we're great mates and that, but I only get, if I want a new board, I have to hand my old board back. So I thought,
like a good boy.
Yeah, like, so this was, I felt a bit, you know, when it was getting made, I thought, but now I've ridden it, it's, sorry, it's just gone. So there's another Pyros board going up on the DC website. But Dale, I think you've done a great job. Mark, you really reckon he's definitely a pioneer?
Smashed it, but that's what he does well. There's a lot of hidden knowledge that goes into this.
Yeah.
You can't just make one without knowing what you're doing. But yeah, smashed it out the park. It's solid. The construction's solid.
There was also a couple of questions about the strength of the board.
Yep.
You seem to have the two boards, by the way, weigh exactly the same, 3.6 kilos. So don't know quite how you've done that. So you've reinforced this, have you?
Yeah. There's more than a couple of layers of carbon inside the trench.
And the board's stiff. There's no flex. Obviously, there's no flex. So.
But that's strengthening
Yeah, the
the
whole
board
thing
up.
too, and the actual, the trench itself is actually like a like a monocoque design, making it stronger.
And connectivity for me, much better
Amazing.
than the other one. Like just no issue, zero.
Yeah. So.
But you do something special.
But I have nothing with it. Dale, there's a couple other little things for that. We don't need to show you that. We won't tell you exactly how he puts the box in. He's done a lot of work there. But anyway, look, this is just sort of part 2 of the trench world. So just tick like and follow me on Instagram and on YouTube, and we'll just keep doing these, because this is not going to. We're not going to just do this video and not progress anymore. As it progresses, as we change boards, as we find out different things, we'll put it out to share. We're not trying to hide all this information and get you to buy or just buy Giles boards. We're just sharing the froth. So that's the whole idea about getting on the FOILDRIVE. So anyway, folks, thanks for listening. Mark, thanks there, and Dale.
Thanks, guys.
You.
You didn't give me your OnlyFans address.
I was going to say that, and I didn't want to wreck it.